Welcome to the deep dive. We got this great source from a listener, an episode from the Insights for Us podcast,
Hmm.
part of their Principles That Shaped Giants series, and this one was on Jacinda Ardern.
Yeah, it's a really interesting look at her leadership style.
Definitely. And we wanted to unpack one core idea from it today. The surprising power of kindness. In leadership, but also just in your professional life.
Right. It feels almost counterintuitive sometimes, doesn't it, in the professional world?
Totally. So our mission, if you will, for this deep dive is to explore how Ardern's approach kind of shakes up those traditional ideas about leadership.
And importantly, what practical things, listeners can actually take away and maybe even apply.
Exactly. So the podcast jumps right in with this contrast.
Yeah, it really sets the stage. You've got the usual fast-paced, often pretty competitive professional environment.
Mm-hmm. Dog eat dog sometimes?
Right. And then it contrasts that with these quieter moments, these interactions where a bit of kindness can have a really, really significant impact.
And Jacinda Ardern is sort of the central example here. They present her not just as, a prime minister, but as someone who really embodied empathy.
Compassion, humility.
Yeah.
Those qualities were front and center.
And what's key, I think, is how the podcast frames it. It's not portraying kindness as a weakness.
Not at all. It's positioned as a genuine strength, a core leadership strength, actually.
Which is a different take than you often hear.
Definitely. And the source gives examples, right? It talks about how during national tragedies or, big global crises,
Yeah.
Ardern's approach consistently put humanity first, like right at the center.
So it wasn't just about the logic or the policy decisions.
Well, those were there, obviously, but they seemed rooted in this fundamental care for people. That was the driving force described.
It makes you pause, doesn't it? Thinking about how everyone you interact with is probably dealing with stuff.
Unseen burdens, yeah. The podcast really leans into that.
And how simple things, really simple, like a kind word or just actually listening to someone
Mm-hmm. We're offering a bit of support.
can make such a profound difference in that person's day, or maybe even longer term.
And building on that, the episode explores how this isn't just, one-on-one. Kindness actually helps build positive environments.
Like in the workplace or
And this
community?
both, yeah. It
Right.
fosters trust. It helps create places where people feel, well, seen
Mhm.
and safe.
Safe enough to actually contribute properly without fear.
Exactly. Safe enough to bring their best selves, you could say.
Okay, so here's a part I found really thought-provoking. The podcast suggests that sometimes.
Yeah.
The kindness you show someone might actually open more doors for you than your qualifications.
That's a gold claim, isn't it?
It is. But the idea is that extending that support, that kindness, maybe that's what makes the connection, not just the resume.
And sort of the flip side, right? Receiving kindness when you're going through something,
Yeah.
that can be the unexpected support you really needed.
Absolutely. It goes both ways.
So, flowing from all this, the source offers some pretty practical calls to action, things you can actually do.
Like what?
Well, things like just pausing, checking in with people around you, offering help before you're asked, maybe.
Proactively.
Yeah. And celebrating other people's successes, sharing opportunities if you can.
That's a big one.
And they use this lovely phrase, speak life into someone's dry season.
That's powerful. Giving encouragement when someone's clearly struggling.
Right. These are all tangible acts of kindness.
And it loops back perfectly to that Ardern quote they shared.
The you can be strong and you can be kind one.
Exactly. It just sort of encapsulates the whole theme, doesn't it? Strength and kindness aren't mutually exclusive.
Not at all. So I think the main takeaway as we sort of walk through this Insights for Us piece is that kindness, it's not just a nice to have.
Not a soft skill.
No. It's presented as really essential. Essential for effective leadership, sure, but also just for navigating your own professional journey.
It's about building real connections, lasting impact.
Precisely. It fosters that human connection and
Yeah.
builds something more meaningful than just, hitting targets.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening, something to mull over.
Okay.
Think about the kind of professional legacy you want to build. Is it going to be only about what you achieved, the titles, the projects?
Well,
Or will it also include the positive impact you had on the actual people around you through those maybe small but intentional acts of kindness we've been talking about?
yeah, achievements and impact on people. It's definitely something worth considering. And one last thing, a pretty direct call to action.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Listen now. Share with friends and family.
Right. They're actively asking for engagement and word of mouth. Shows confidence in the content, maybe.
or at least a strong desire to grow their audience. But it ties back to that idea of sharing impactful stories, things people might actually talk about.
Makes sense. They believe the stories are worth sharing, worth discussing.
Okay, so let's just quickly wrap up the key points. We've got the podcast insights for us.
Hosted by David and Deb Aloba, written by Aloba.
Available on Spotify and YouTube.
And the main goal is sharing stories that challenge, inspire, and stir something within you.
With a recent copyright suggesting it's current, and a call to share it if you like it.
Seems like a fair summary. It positions itself clearly as a source of, well, thought-provoking and hopefully moving content.
Yeah. So for you listening, considering that aim to challenge, inspire, stir, what kinds of stories, what perspectives actually do that for you? When you're browsing Spotify or YouTube, what makes you stop and listen?
That's a great question to ponder. What really grabs your attention in that huge sea of content out there? Something to think about.